Some bets are just more fruitful than others. Let's find out who deserves a fruit basket of their own for helping the Primetime Action Crew win this weekend.
Kelley, I was prepared to say it again before the music started. I would have said vsin.com/subscribe 3 or 4 times if it was necessary, but you got it done. It's Fruit Basket time, everybody. Fruit Baskets, virtual ones that we give to people that helped us win bets this weekend. People, teams, whatever. They brought in the cash. I'm first. Ladies and gentlemen,
You're first.
I don't care what you think about me. My fruit baskets go to tennis players. Sure, while you were betting football, I was cashing at Indian Wells. Congratulations and fruit basket galore to Paula Badosa of Spain. What a tennis match. What a final yesterday in tennis's fifth major, de facto fifth major at Indian Wells. Played in October this year instead of its standard March. It'll be back in March next year. But Badosa versus Azarenka yesterday, and we had Badosa, and in a big way, she got it done in a match that was one of the top 10 matches I've ever seen in my life. Best thing in sports yesterday, period. I won't be talked off the position. And then Cameron Norrie, who, Kelley, you said you had never heard of last week. Cameron Norrie of Great Britain, of England, he came back from a one-set deficit to Nicholas Basilashvili, and Norrie's data was such that he should have been the pre-flop favorite, but when he fell down a set, I'm like, I wasn't going to get involved, but now I'll get involved. Plus 181 to the house.
Nice.
Turned it around. So for Paula Badosa and Cameron Norrie, separate fruit baskets going to 2 different parts of the world.
How many times did you bet on Badosa over the last week?
I can tell you exactly, but it's got to be 3 or 4 times.
That's what I was going to guess.
Plus to win the tournament right before the semis.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know you added that one. Okay.
Yeah, right before the semis. Not like way early, but right before the semis. So was a great weekend in that regard.
Okay.
Well, how about some football fruit baskets?
So I have a couple of receivers here that I want to thank in CeeDee Lamb and KJ Osborne, because guess what? They scored touchdowns in overtime, one of which was CeeDee Lamb that we didn't even need. We just needed a field goal there. And
the push.
For the push, but the touchdown gets us home. Listen, we're taking these overtime wins and pushes like very, very well here. Like this is we ran pure. And then also in the Vikings game as well, catches that, gets that into the end zone. Vikings, by the way, we were talking about this on break. Complete obliteration in the box score and somehow ends up in overtime in an actual game. We may or may not have said a coach should not have his job if that didn't go.
That might have been texted.
It might have been texted, but it did get home. We win the bets. We move on. Thank you for getting into the end zone there. Oh, Kelley, we're going to Kelley.
All right, yeah. I'll tack on to that. Same thing. Cowboys, Vikings. You went very specific with it.
Yes.
As you should have. Both those games were took so much out of me for winning tickets. Oh my gosh, they were very painful yesterday. I don't even know. There was a lot of guys. The Vikings, it was like, just thank God you got there, because like as you said, we're looking at box score. This game should have been a complete blowout, and it looked like it was all falling apart. You could see it was one of those games you could see how it was going to play out at the end. You're like, clearly they're going to score. Clearly they're going to convert the 2-point conversion. This is going to happen. This is going to happen. Cowboys, I think you're right. CeeDee Lamb, you knew someone was going to have to slip a tackle or whatever.
Yeah, because we were looking at a push or nothing.
Because otherwise we were going to push or nothing. But I loved the. I'll go back to Kel Moore. I think he called a heck of a game. I think especially in that overtime, especially when he's lining up in the same formation 3 separate times, goes back to a play that Tony Romo spotted. I love it. Romo spotting it. The Patriots coaches somehow aren't spotting it because it worked. It worked once. Might have worked twice even. But big game for Cowboys and Vikings. Cowboys my biggest bet of the week. So thank God that got over.
And another game, really, if you look at how that Cowboys game played out, I mean, I know there's going to be people who are saying, oh no, the Patriots are the right side. Like, they won that game pretty handily there was just a couple, we talk about the kind of a bonehead call. There was a red zone mishap as well. I mean, like, they controlled that game. They won that game convincingly. So don't come at me with your whole like, oh, you got lucky to cover that. No, the Cowboys should have won that game again. That was another one that should have been a much bigger margin than it actually was. I would like to give a old tip of the cap here because I said, hey, prove it to me that this team isn't any good and that the Lions are actually, feisty. Well, that did not happen. Joe Burrow, Joe Mixon, Jamar Chase go out. absolutely destroy and crush the souls of the kneecap biters of the Lions out there. Joe Burrow didn't even need his throat in this one. He got to sit out the last of the game as well because they were up so big in that one. Listen, this team is a team that is going to give other good teams fits throughout the rest of the season. They might not win a whole bunch of these games against good teams, but they are going to give those team fits. It is going to be one of those games that these guys are looking at the schedule and they're like, I don't want to play that team. I just really don't want to play that team. They are so talented offensively. And then on the defensive side of the ball, maybe some of this stuff is real. I still believe that there is some regression to be had, but I do believe that some of this stuff is real on the defensive side of the ball as well that makes this team pretty interesting.
Bengals 4 wins, as many as they had all last season. Zach Taylor, 6 wins in 4 years, now 4 wins in 6 weeks. By the way, Dan Campbell about Jared Goff, quote, I feel he needs to step up more than he has. And he searched for those words very carefully.
That was a very interesting post-game press conference yesterday. But I'm with you, Matt. We're gonna talk Lions for Week 7 later in the show. That was one I looked at yesterday. I'm like 6.5. Bengals at Ravens. They're getting to a point where I think I still don't. I think the books aren't up to respecting the Bengals enough yet. I didn't make a bet yet because I think that number could rise to 7 at some point. If it does, I might be in on that though.
One more here, or are we done?
Yeah, we got one more coming. We got a split between Matt and myself on the Rams and Chiefs, and Matt, I'll let you take it. The only thing I got to say were these were the God teaser legs of the weekend, right?
Yeah, so, and I'm giving it up here. One, everybody knew we needed the Chiefs coming into this week. Anyway, we had front facing, backward. We had everything rolling in to the Chiefs. And then whenever this Rams was able to fall into a teaser leg category, we were like, all right, well, I think I'm going to have to add this. I'm going to have to get these guys in here as well. And this is mainly for where we had to sweat out this Cowboys thing. We had to sweat out this Vikings thing. Thank you for just letting this coast. I didn't even have to pay attention to these two. Once I saw kind of what was going on, I felt super comfortable and just moved on with the afternoon. Different games, paid attention a little bit closer elsewhere, moved them off main screens onto little side screens because they just coasted and they beat down bad teams like they're supposed to do. And thank you for not playing down to the level of your opponent.
And that's what we talked about last week with the Chiefs. I think they are good. I think these struggles are real when they play good teams, but teams that are inferior opponents, like you even saw in the first half of that game, they had these same old turnover problems that they've been having. They're shooting themselves in the foot. But once they stop doing that, they easily cruise past Washington. And that was the only thing you should have been upset about with those teams yesterday, Matt, is I was upset that I didn't bet more, especially on the Rams when they fell into that teaser territory late in the week. We saw on Friday them get down to 8.5.
Yeah.
Only thing I was mad about was why did I not tie
Kelly,
Rams?
the less you bet, the more you lose when you win.
There you go. That's right.